GANS production experiment, visual, magnetic, gravitational. Part 4, I believe. Anyway, I have, in previous videos, I had that jug and that jug filled with collection, and I filtered it and put it in my collection jars. This is the one that I put it in after it comes out of those, and then the main jar where everything is gone that I've collected from this particular tub is here, and you can see the high concentration, almost see the line right there. That's where it's technically solid, and then I added this and it's still settling. But I was using both of these jars to see the effect on the liquid, and the interesting thing is, I don't know if you can see, God, the shadow's killing me. Okay, over here, wow, 1 second. There we go. Okay, so from here you can see I have this jar here, and there's an obvious interaction there with the shape here coming off the end of that plate, and then the curves of the striations, representations of the fields that are interacting are very obvious there, and you can see where they come off and then kind of curl back in to go technically on the other side of the jar, and they're slow to show, but they are steady and continuous. The interesting factor is, before I made this video, I had this jar up here on a shelf here, and while it was there, it created the lines you can see in there. If you look closely, you can kind of see how they branch out in like a sun pattern. But when I had it up there, I had some main lines coming in this way, and then it was doing what it's doing now in the other corner, is it was doing the curve around the bottle. And my original thought there was that I would get a similar effect, or at least comparative effect, from this second jar, being as it's the main container. And I had it down here on this shelf originally, and was getting no visible lines or interactions. So I moved it up one, thinking maybe the field needed a definitive end, top or bottom, to show its interaction. But with moving this one down technically from the shelf up there, and still getting the field interaction showing, I have to say that that is not a necessity, having it up or down, at least in this particular case. The interesting part is there's far more in there than there is in any of the other containers, being as it's the main collection jar, and the obvious conclusion there would be that its field is the strongest, and I get it's been in its current position for almost 10 minutes, and usually only takes about 5 minutes for the liquid to adjust accordingly and show some kind of reaction. And yet I have no definitive reaction at all. Matter of fact, the consistency there is a lack of interaction, or at least visible interaction, which is strange. And there's a fly. So I'm not sure what to make of that yet. Either the fields are too strong to be represented that close, or there is another possibility I have changed. There's steel wrapped in copper underneath the water there, and that would be technically the second round of steel that's been in this tub. The bismuth plate has stayed the same, and I've been recycling the copper because the potassium in the saltwater solution eats away at the copper over time and eventually dissolves, so and the steel as well. So this is the second round, and the majority of what's in that tank is from the first round. This would be the first time from here up that I've added what's in this solution to my main collection. But those are the variable factors, and I guess the only obvious thing I can say is there are some faint subfields or sublines coming off that plate, and the obvious interaction with that is the lack of them in that area, and the ones coming off curving around it, so to speak, as they travel that direction. I'm not sure if you can see that as well as I can. The reflections, I notice, are much worse in the camera than they are in real time, but I think you can still make it out as they travel this way, and then go over here and proceed to do a spider. And I notice when there's a lack of GANS on the outside of the tub, that's the continuous pattern I get, is what I call magnetic spiders coming off in semi-symmetrical patterns. But obvious interaction with that one. Other than that, anyway, that's my fourth update.